Afternoon. Welcome to another edition of course, my favorite, my plate, my choice. Um, Give everybody a chance to get in, get acclimated. Today, I won't be so tough on you guys today. I know it is a holiday, and I know everybody is excited to kind of get around the grill and get some things popping. So I will not rain on anybody's parade today. I will not. But I do want to talk about something important. We'll be pretty brief, but I do want to talk about a couple of things that I think are going to be very beneficial in helping us kind of get over that hump that we seem to be fighting as far as that uphill battle. Um, my plate, my choice. Last week, we kind of jumped into talking about, we were looking at sauces. I kind of talked to you guys about not losing your meal and the health of your meal, or the nutritional value of your meal to sauces. And I was showing you guys how quickly you can kind of throw the entire meal away with the wrong sauces, right? You guys remember that, right? We were there. Yes. All right. So we've looked at a lot of different entities and a lot of different avenues over the span of these couple months that we've been together with My Plate, My Choice. We've addressed a lot of different, you can't see me. All right, let's go about it this route. Hold on. Not sure why, but we'll jump on here. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Mm. All right. Give me just a second. Yes, the screen is dark. All right, hold on, guys. I'm coming. Yep. Enter. All right. All right, boom. Can you hear me now? You guys can hear me now, right? Yes, I know you guys can hear me now. All right, so now we good. All right. So my apologies. Like I was saying, man, listen, we had a bad storm come through Helena this morning. We were without power for, I mean, I probably got my power back like maybe 30, 45 minutes ago. So I've been fighting to kind of get my Wi-Fi and everything set back up. So cool. All right, boom. Here we go. Good. Welcome. My plate, my choice. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's a holiday week, holiday day. I know you guys are excited to get around the grill and get some stuff going. So I'm not gonna rain on your parade today, but I do want to talk about something that I feel like is very, very, very beneficial to you guys. It is a big secret. I will tell you guys, consistency. You heard me? Consistency. Consistency. Y'all heard that? That C word, consistency. That is what I want to talk about. Consistency. Got it? Consistency. Because you guys have got to understand, everything that we have and everything that we do, it is a byproduct of how consistent we are. Got it? Like it, your consistency shows. What you do more of, it shows. It shows, it shows, it shows. I'm not here to gimmick you. I'm not here to try to sell you something. I'm here to try to give you guys something that you can do sustainably that will help you get the overall results as far as being healthy. I'm not here about weight loss. I'm here about helping everybody make better decisions when it comes to that plate so that we can live a healthier lifestyle. But it starts with consistency. You are a product of what you do more of. You are a product of what you consistently do more of. I will say it again. You are a product of what you do consistently more of. You're a product of that. It shows. What you do, it shows. So when you sit down and you say, all right, man, I'm gonna eat clean this week. I'm gonna eat clean this week. You put in 7 days of eating clean, and a lot of times what happens, and this is just me talking to people and talking to clients across the board. What happens is we do it for a week, and we don't see results, and because we don't see results, we feel like, oh man, that wasn't really beneficial. Man, that didn't really help, and it's kind of like I'm good on that, and you go backwards. You go back to doing things that aren't gonna help you at all, right? But you've got to understand consistency isn't a short game, it's a long game. Consistency is not a short game, it is a long game. We have got to practice putting up weeks and weeks and weeks of doing the right things consistently. And that's everywhere in life. You can't tell me anywhere else in life where you're going to do something for a short period of time and expect to see some exponential change. Like, you can't tell me that there's anything in life that you will do that in. No space, no capacity, no job. You do something for a minimal amount of time and you're going to see a great amount of change. That's not going to happen. Consistency has to become the goal that we're after. So when it comes to our nutrition, consistency has to become the goal that we are after. So we've talked about so many things. I've talked to you guys about fried foods versus baked foods, sweets versus no sweets, juice, water, like all the things that we've talked about. You have got to start to put those things into practice consistently. Consistently. See, I give you each week. I kind of give you a new thing to work on. I give you a new thing to work on. Like I said, not last week, the week before, we talked about sauces. We I kind of still got all the sauces right here, guys. Like, boom, right? So we talked about sauces, and we were talking about sauces. That was your cue to kind of start paying more attention to the sauces that you use, the amounts that you use every time you sit down to eat, so that you're not losing that whole nutritious meal, right? Like you got to the point of making nutritious meals, right? You got to that point, and then you started throwing them away because it's like, all right, I'm gonna overload those with sauces that aren't good, and now you just undid the value that you had going forward, right? So that was something for you to work on. Every week is something new for you to work on, because I don't expect for you to attack everything at one time. That's too much. I don't expect for you to hit everything. Just sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna cut fried foods, I'm gonna cut sweets, I'm gonna cut juices, I'm gonna cut, like, I don't expect you to do all that at one time. So each week I try to spoon feed you something for you to work on for the next 2 weeks, and then we come together and then we learn something new together, right? And then, but the overall thing is we have to put those things into practice consistently. We've got to put these things into practice consistently, guys. Like, I listen. I don't know another way to say it. I don't know another way to make it easier. Like, consistency has to become the name of the game for you. What? Let's look at it like this. We're talking about consistency. What's hitting your plate more? That's the question for you. What's hitting your plate more? Home cooked meals, clean meals, fast foods, processed foods? What's hitting your plate more? Right? And while I'm on that, let's talk about this. I was doing some reading earlier this week, and I noticed something, and I think I'm probably gonna put this on my God, dog, on my list to talk about. But because I think it's very critical for a lot of people. I often hear women talk about this thing called bloating, the big B, right? Bloating, right? And I think that it's good for us to understand that bloating is not something that's just specific to women. Bloating is also something that happens in men as well. Men can bloat just like women can bloat. But you guys know what happens with bloating? Bloating is your body. Let's look at it. Your body is a temple. Yes, that's what the word says. My body is a temple. Yes, my body is a temple, not a storage container. So what happens? A lot of those processed foods and things that we take in, our body is just holding on to them because we're not eating enough of the right things to flush our system out. So now your body's just a storage container. You're just holding, which causes you to bloat. And you carry that weight right in your midsection. And so when you start looking at it, it's like, man, I'm not seeing results, nothing. I'm making changes, but boom, 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 boom. You've got to start to do things that will work with that process. And you've got to do it consistently. That's why I talked to you guys at the beginning about eating vegetables. Eating vegetables. I talked to you guys about having a high fiber diet, because what does fiber do? Fiber, it helps to flush out your system, and it keeps you regular. Regular is something that you want to be when it comes to your bowel movements. Regular. You want to be regular. You don't want to walk around holding, storing, keeping. That's not what you want, right? So consistency is something that you have to put in practice in every aspect. Consistency.
Consistency. We've got to put it in practice in every aspect. We cannot get stuck just in one area and say, all right, George, I'm real consistent with drinking water. That's great. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of that growth. But are you consistent with staying away from the fried foods? Are you consistent with staying away from the sweets? Right? Consistency. I'm not saying you're not going to make mistakes. I'm not here to beat you up. I'm not saying you won't make mistakes. You will make mistakes. You will go to an event. You will go to a party. Today is Memorial Day. You'll go to a cookout, right? And you will have something that you're not supposed to have. And that's okay to have it once every blue moon or periodically. But what I'm saying is we want to be more consistent with doing the right thing than we are with doing the wrong thing. We want to be more consistent with that, right? All right, so let's look at this. My mom used to say this to me. I put this quote in my notes. My mom used to say this to me all the time. She said, and this is about me getting whoopings, because if y'all know anything about me as a child, I stayed in trouble, right? And my mom would always say, "You, when you get tired of your dad whipping you, you'll change. When you get tired of him whooping you, you'll change." And I used to be like, "Mom, but I am tired of it." She was like, "No, you're not, because you haven't changed yet. You haven't changed yet. When you're tired of him doing it, you will change." I'm saying that to you guys. See, because we have morphed into this space as a society where it's about being comfortable with the skin you're in. And I'm all for it, right? I'm all for being comfortable with the skin you are in. I'm all for it. But is the skin you're in healthy? And is that the best version of you? Right? Is that the best version of you? And if it's not, and you haven't started making those changes, it's because you're not tired of it yet. You're not tired of being out of shape. You're not tired of being sluggish. You're not tired of achy joints. You're not tired of the health issues that come with that lifestyle. You're not tired of it yet. Because when you're tired of it, you will start to make changes. I have not given anything that is up here as far as a scale of how hard it is. I keep giving things that are very simple changes to make that will help you drastically. That will help you drastically when it comes to like where you are and where you're trying to get to. But you've got to start to make those changes, and you've got to make them consistently. We've got to make them consistently. For me, I arrived at a place where I absolutely got tired, and I said, you know what? This was the last day. I'm done with that. So I had to start making changes. Was it easy? No, I'm never going to tell you that it's easy, but that's why I'm here every other Monday to help. I'm here every other Monday to answer questions. I'm here every other Monday to give new feedback and new insight and new information to kind of help that process, right? See, for me, when I did it, I was figuring a lot of things out on my own. But we work better as a community. We work better as a group. We work better as a team. So when I come here, it's so that we can work as a team and start to attack these goals. But we've got to go back to the place of being consistent. We've got to be consistent. We have to be consistent. You can't think that, well, let's look at it like this. You guys hear when you have, like, I'll have people all the time, they'll ask me about, like, Georgia, what do you think about this trend? Or what do you think about, this trendy diet? Or, because there's always some new diet. There's always some new diet, some new way to lose weight, some new way to drop 10 pounds quick, like all this stuff. That's great. And there's an avenue for that, right? But it's not sustainable. I am here to talk to you about things that you can do consistently. Not eating fast foods, that's something that you can easily do consistently. Cooking, prepping meals, that is something that you can do consistently. Staying away from sugar and sweets, that's something that you can do consistently. I am here to attack consistency. That has to be the goal. That has to be something that we start to move in that direction in a very aggressive manner. Consistently. Consistency, consistently. It's not hard. We'll do it together. Right here. We'll do it together. But we will be consistent. We will start to look at everything that we do, and we will do it consistently. It's easy for us to say, man, all right, man, I'm really craving something sweet. We all get that. I know I was fighting that battle real hard this weekend. Like, I promise you, I will not lie to you. This weekend, I was fighting that battle so hard. I really wanted something sweet on multiple fronts. I did. But I stayed away from it. I stayed away from it. Now, for me, that's just because I focus more on where I want to go than where I am right now. And I will say that, like, I have people that definitely ask me that question. Like, Georgia, what do you do when you have a craving? I start to look at what my goal is. And I ask myself, is that craving going to help me get to that goal, or is it going to push me back? If me satisfying that craving is going to give me temporary satisfaction, I can't trade off temporary satisfaction for my long-term goal. And that's what we got to start to look at. Temporary satisfaction versus the long-term goal. I can't make that trade-off. I can't give it up. I cannot. Now, for you, you may say, all right, cool, I can do it today. You trade off, you give yourself that reward, right? Whatever it is that you're seeking, you give yourself that one thing, and then you get back to being consistent. But what happens is we start to get away from, like, we start to become more consistent with eating the wrong things. We start to become more consistent with what we're not supposed to have. We start to become more consistent with those things that our body doesn't need. We start to become more consistent in those areas than we are in the right areas. You cannot continue to fill your body up with sugar and think it's going to produce the results that you desire. That's simple. That's simple. You cannot continue to fill your body up with fried food. You cannot continue to fill your body up with fast food. You cannot continue to fill your body up with those things and think it's going to function or think you're going to get to that space that you desire to get to. What are you doing consistently? That has to be, I want that to be the theme going into this week. Like, what am I doing consistently? What am I doing consistently? You go through the week, you examine yourself at the end of that 7-day span. What was I consistent with? Was I consistent with my water intake? Yes or no? Was I consistent with staying away from sweets? Yes or no? Was I consistent with not snacking? Yes or no? Was I consistent with staying away from fried foods? Yes or no? Like, start to look at what you're consistent with. And those areas of inconsistencies, now we know those are the things we really have to work on. Those are the things we have to give more of our attention to. Those are the things we have to give more time to. And those are the things we have to focus on more. Those levels of inconsistency. And we all have them. I don't want anybody to feel like, oh man, like I'm perfect. No, 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 no. Listen, we all have those levels of inconsistency, right? So now you have to start to be honest with yourself about those inconsistencies so you know what you truly need to work on. You know, I told you way in the beginning, one of the ways that I work is to help myself be great. The things that I know that I struggle with, I don't bring them in the house. I will always tell everybody that is my telltale secret. The things that I struggle with, I will not bring them in this house. Now, you may be way smarter than me, right? And you say you're strong and you got willpower and you can beat it. So you say, all right, I'm struggling with this area. I'm inconsistent in this area, but I'm going to keep buying it and bringing it in my house. You tell me, you really think that that's going to work out? You really think that you're going to grow right there? You really think that you're going to be able to beat that? No. If it's a level or a space of inconsistency, if it's something that you're inconsistent with, let's work on it and let's figure out new ways to get better in that area, right? So if you're inconsistent when it comes to sweets, we're not buying sweets. We're not buying sweets. And get an accountability partner. Hey, listen, I don't care. Listen, we can go to lunch, but listen, do not let me buy something. People know. They know not to tell me to be an accountability partner because I'm going to remind you. As soon as I see it, hey, you remember what you told me? You told me you were working on. Remember, you said you're not working on that anymore. You're not still you're not still doing that, right? Because I'm gonna remind you. I'm going to remind you, right? You got to know it. Like for me, I'll give you guys last week. I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. So last week, I'll tell you guys two stories, and then I'll be out of here, right? So last week was the last week of school at our school, New Life Christian School of Excellence, last week. And so the staff pretty much did lunch like every day. Listen, let me tell you, it's sad sometimes what they do to me at work. It's sad. It's sad. Because they bring in all the things that they know I love. That Green Acres, listen, I love Green Acres. I love Green Acres. They had a little hole in the wall, fish and wing joint. Shoot, what else did they have? They had a spread pretty much every day. Well, because I know that there are certain things that I struggle with, I don't even go around those areas on those days. I don't even go. I just speak to everybody from a distance. I'm not even coming to, hey, what's up? I keep it pushing. Right? I'm not gonna throw myself in the face of something that I know I struggle with. It's easier for me to be consistent if I don't go around it. And that's a lesson for you. It's easier for you to be consistent if you're not forced to see it and deal with it. It's easier for you to be consistent. You've got to begin to put yourself in a position to be successful. Put yourself in a position to be successful. So how do I do that? Well, well, one plus one is gonna always equal two. If I don't do well and every time I see donuts, I gotta have one, I gotta stop going around donuts. I gotta stop going around them. Hello? I can't. If I know when I go over such and such house, they're gonna bring out that pound cake. Hey, listen, I might not be able to come over there for a little while because every time I come over there, y'all gonna bring that out. I'm gonna fall weak. So let me help myself be consistent. I just can't go. Like sometimes you have to be okay stepping away from the crowd to achieve the goal. Jesus was separated. Jesus went by himself. There's so many times where Jesus went by himself. He wanted to be in sync with God. He wanted to be in tune. He wanted to make sure he was ready for whatever was coming. He wanted to be ready for whatever decisions he had to make or the journey he was about to go on. So he understood that the separation was necessary. Sometimes you have to understand that the separation from friends or the separation from these events, it's necessary because listen, how many events can you go to when you're no longer here? Is that a drastic example? Yes, but is it true? Also, yes. How many events can you go to when you are no longer here? How many events can you go to when you're in the hospital? How many events can you go to? What is more important, an event or your health? What's more important to you? That's a simple question. Like, what's more important to you? Like, yeah, it's cool, and food is comfort, and food makes us feel good, and food makes us forget about a hard day we had or some hard, I don't know, life experience that we had to deal with. Yes, food helps us forget about those things, but only temporarily. Because when you finish eating that meal, you still got to deal with it. You still got to deal with it. Like food didn't make the situation go away. It made you feel good momentarily. Again, temporary satisfaction. It made you feel good momentarily, but in the long run, you still got to go back and deal with the problem. So let's stop leaning on food as a fix when we're emotional or when we're sad or when we're like whatever. Stay on track. Be consistent. Stay on track. Be consistent. I'll tell you guys. All right, here's a story. Real funny story. So I've been trying to work on my green thumb, right? And so I like put sod down in my front yard and backyard. I put sod down, right? And so I noticed though there were like some weeds still poking through. Nothing to do with food, but just stick with me. I want you to hear the whole example so you'll get it. Right? So I noticed some weeds poking through. So I went to Home Depot. I got this weed killer or whatever, and they say you're supposed to put it down before it rains or whatever. You know, the rain will hit it, whatever. It'll do what it does, and it'll kill the weeds. It won't kill the grass, yada yada yada. Right? Cool. So I get it. I put it down. Boom, 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 boom. I put it down. Did I put too much down? That part too. Yes, right. So I put it down. But what happened was I listened to the forecast. The forecast said it was supposed to rain. It didn't rain. So and I put it down before I left for work, which means it sat in my yard all day. And then like the next day, I think it rained like a day later, right? So needless to say, my beautiful sod that was so beautiful and green completely burned up. It's yellow, right? It's yellow. So I did some reading and some research. And it was like, no, it's not dead. You're just gonna have to continue to work on it and you'll bring it back. So now, like in the neighborhood, I was happy for a minute because I'm like, man, my yard's so beautiful. Like, you know what I'm saying? When they pull by my house, they gonna know this boy, yeah, okay. Right? Not right now though. That bad boy is spotty. Right? It's spotty. It's spotty. So what happened? I have to remind myself every day when I go water my yard. Every day when I'm out there watering my yard, I remind myself, hey, stay consistent with this. It's gonna come back. They may be laughing right now, but it's gonna come back. I see the little green sprout starting to come through. It's coming back. I'm consistent with it though. I still get out there and water it. I still get out there and nurture it consistently because I can't worry about what the current status is right now. I've got to remain consistent because I know what the goal is. I'm saying that for you when it comes to your eating and your nutrition, stay consistent. People may try to steer you off course. People may try to talk about you for the decisions that you're making or the decisions that you're no longer making. Stay consistent and stay on course because ultimately, in the end, when you reach that goal and you get to that place, now they want to ask you, hey, what did you do to get there? I stayed consistent. That's all I did. I stayed consistent. I remained consistent doing the right things. So each and every time you sit down for a meal, each and every time you get ready to snack, is this what I need? And what, at the end of the week, what was I consistent with? Where were my inconsistencies? What was I consistent with? Now the inconsistencies, I know I'm going into the next week and I'm working on those inconsistencies. You got what I'm saying? Thank y'all so much for tuning in today, man. Y'all be blessed, and I will catch y'all next week.